Hey everyone, welcome back to the Not Your Average Code podcast. I'm your host, Anjelica Jones, and here with me today we have our most special guest, our CEO, Chris Flakus.
Hello, everybody.
So excited to be here.
Thank
We're
you.
celebrating a big milestone, 30 years.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Good morning, sunshine.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's get the show on the road.
30 years of CSI.
Incredible.
How does it feel?
Well, I wasn't here for the entire 30 years,
Right.
although it might look like I have been, but I have not.
No.
But 22 of those 30 years. So like quick shout out to the people that started the company, Don Langmo, Eric Stevens, those guys really got this whole thing cranked up. And, we've just sort of taken it to the next level and certainly want to keep going. But it's been a long 30 years, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Just for the part that I've been here, there's been a lot of change.
That's awesome. So 22 years.
22 years.
If you could go back on your first day of work here, knowing what you know now that you're in this position, what would you tell yourself?
Wow, what a great question. Thanks for just starting right off the bat, right? I think I would tell myself that it all will work out. I think, one of the things when you look back on your career, you have those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the end. I'm going to have to do something different because,
Right.
and then things worked out, right? And I think, at the end of the day, showing up every day and working really hard and keeping a good attitude, all those things that we're taught all the way along actually do mean something. And so I would tell myself that, hey, look, it's going to work out. Just hang in there and keep working hard.
Of course. That's amazing. So walk us down memory lane a little bit. How has CSI and the industry changed?
Well, again, another very loaded question, right? With a lot of things to cover, but let's kind of start with how the industry's changed. So if you think about 30 years ago in staffing and recruiting, of course, CSI has moved on a lot, from there, and we do a whole lot more than just staffing and recruiting now. But the beginning of the days 30 years ago, there weren't a lot of resumes and a lot of correspondence done on the internet. Everything was done via fax.
Right.
And so when I look back at the way we used to come in on a Monday morning versus what we do now, you come in on a Monday morning, you cut out all the classified ads, the job ads from the Sunday newspaper, which back then was a really big deal, right? And over the years, I don't even know that there is a newspaper anymore. I think there is, but
Right.
I think it's all online. I'm not sure if there's a printed one anymore. But anyways, so we would cut out ads and we would do a lot of cold calls to companies that we saw doing those advertisements, and then we would send resumes via fax, which is just bizarre to think about now, right? In terms of the way technology is, but that's a really big change in the industry. I think everything back then was, we would go cold calling and you'd walk into a building and you'd go looking for business cards and, you kind of cold call people. And now you just can't do that, right? People aren't, first of all, you can't get into a lot of buildings, but even the buildings you can get into, people are remote or at least they're hybrid. So a lot of times you really can't just walk in and do that. As far as CSI, it is literally night and day from where it was all those years ago. Back then we were a true, 3 office, Jackson, Orlando, and Tampa, true staffing company. I came in, my goal or my job coming in was to introduce more higher level staffing and recruiting to what we were back then, Custom Staffing Inc. And I was supposed to start accounting and finance practice and an IT practice, which we did. And clearly that has done well over the years. But, it really is a big change. And it's not only the people have changed, but just sort of the way that we handle business. Now we're a national company, right? And we don't really have physical offices. We certainly do here in Jacksonville. We still have one in Nashville. But overall, everybody's working out of their homes or they're on the road. And so it's just a very different world of work.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it's been so fun to, start preparing for our celebration and to look back at pictures of even the old offices just down the road too, and put together a little yearbook of clips.
So now before you've even seen those pictures, so let's talk about the way Jacksonville was when I first started.
Okay.
We had a corporate office in Ponte Vedra, which is out, at the beach. But we had a little terrible office off of Bay Meadows and another one off of Sunbeam where we sat really at card tables with folding chairs.
Oh my gosh.
And back then, you could say picnic tables, that would be a step up from what we had, right? It was, and people don't realize that that's sort of the way it started. It was just, everybody showed up and just grinded and nobody really cared about having an office or it being an environment like this building is today, right? And so So that's been a huge change. But yes, that's what, what you're talking about. We were right just down the road for a lot of years. But before that, there was even pre that. And it was pretty archaic compared to where we are now.
Well, that's incredible. And I feel like that's a testament to why CSI and everyone is so successful. So what are standout moments, proudest accomplishments in the 30 years or your 22 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say, first of all, we've had a lot of accomplishments. I think for me, I've always celebrated the individual accomplishments that our people have had. We've had just some incredible success and career trajectory growth from some of our people. You look at, the Kate Mazes of the world and Evan and Brian and some of these people that have stuck with us for all these years.
Right.
And their individual achievements have been incredible. But collectively, right, the company has done extremely well. So I'd say when we were first purchased by Recruit, going back to 2010, right, almost 15 years ago now, they looked at us as a company with a ton of upside, really. They just looked at us as potential because back then we weren't very good at creating profit. We were really good at creating revenue, but not profit. And so they set a goal for us to be a 10% bottom line profit company. And of course, when they bought us, we were like a 0%, right? We were spending every dollar we made. But I would say proud accomplishments along the way have been to establish that 10% bottom line as a true baseline that we've never wavered from, and we've grown it from there. So learning how to run a very efficient and effective business, based on productivity and based on celebrating people's success, I feel like, we've created an environment where, sky's really the limit,
right?
But a lot of proud moments along the way. I mean, I think being able to be in a building like this, have this as our corporate headquarters and actually fill it up with people, right?
Of course.
We had that vision that one day we'd get here. It's just, at certain moments along the way, you're like, oh gosh, I don't know that it's going to work. And to see it actually working all of those, all these years later, it's quite a testament to the people that have stuck it out with us. But we got a long ways to go, Anjelica. There's a long ways to go. We've got very big goals, and I think that's exciting too.
Yeah, and we'll get to the goals in a second, but I want to go back because you mentioned, and there has been a lot of people that have been here for a long time, 17 years, 18 years, 20 years. How has that been? Because I feel like that's probably a different aspect of this company than many other companies. You don't have people that stay at companies for a long time. So looking back at 22 years ago or 20 years ago, 17 years ago when Kate started, and being able to grow that much with the same people, how does that feel? And how is it being together still?
That's a great question. I would say, first of all, it's humbling, right? Because you want to create an environment where people want to stay.
Right, of course.
And I think if you look at our core group of people, we have a lot of people that have been here for 15 years or more. As a matter of fact, on the way here, somebody stopped me in the hallways, Jenny Tenuta, and she said, oh, by the way, 15 years was yesterday for me. And I was like, well, gosh, congratulations. Now, normally I would reach out to her and congratulate her, but I'm a little bit behind the times, I guess. But just a lot of people that have stuck it out. So it's humbling on the one hand. But the other thing, I think it's a testament to what the company's been able to do. Like you want to keep your core group intact. And to do that, you have to continue to create an environment where people want to be, right? They want to stay there. You have to give them new challenges, new opportunities. But really, the only way to do that is to grow. If you're just staying stagnant, why do people want to stick around for that? And CSI has never been a company that's happy being where they are, right? We've always been like, look, we didn't come this far to come this far. Like we are on our way to billions, right? We're not on the way to where we are right now. So I think that's been infectious. And I think people want to be part of that vision. So it is we're just very fortunate that this team has stuck together.
Yeah, of course. So you talk about making big decisions and, knowing when to pivot and what's your next move. How do you as a leader know when to pivot and know when it's right? And then who do you rely on to help make you those decisions?
Well, that's a great question too. You've really got some good questions today, but I think, first of all, I think that you have this core team that we just talked about, and collectively we come up with a vision. Like what's the vision of the company? It's never about any one of us. I think we bought into this idea of management by consensus a long time ago. Like we all want to agree and we all want to be on the same page. I think that matters. But as far as the inspiration or really kind of figuring out where you're headed, that comes from us just paying attention to what's happening in the industry. I think the interesting thing about that is when you have a group of driven individuals, like we are very driven, right? And I think then you combine that and you set some pretty lofty goals as an organization. It takes the individuals to do it, but the sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Like together we have a ton of power. And I think that together we've been able to really go out and do big things. But that comes from each of the individuals being very driven people and having personal accomplishments, right? Everybody has personal goals, things that they want to do in their lives and in their careers. And we just hope to continue to grow CSI to the point that they can satisfy all that here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and you can experience that as an employee here. It's so welcoming. It's a great environment. Company culture here is so incredible. A great wellness program. Halloweens are fun. Kickball tournaments. Everything under the sun. Was that always the case when you started here? Or is that something that once you became into a leadership role, you really made a point of?
Well, I'd love to take credit for those things, but that's definitely not me. I do think it's important to have a very diverse offering, right? I think our wellness program, that's why you have yoga and strength and running. You have different things for different people. So the culture is a really big part of CSI. And I think people that are here longer sort of figure that out. At the beginning, not quite so easy to figure out because you think, well, this is strange. This is just so different. But I think it's to offset, the culture is really to offset how hard people work here. We really do ask a lot of people. And I don't think everybody quite understands that at the beginning. But I think they figure it out pretty quickly.
Of course.
It's almost like, to a certain extent, you have a PE class to break up your day. Like we try and do things like that because the days can be very long, as you know, in this business. And especially being in healthcare so much, there's really not a timetable on what your working hours. You might have a day that you're 8 to 5, but you might have a day where you're 8 to 8. Right. And so what we like to do is reward people as much as we can. But it's a great culture, which I take part in a lot of it, but some of it, like a kickball tournament, probably not something I'll do, but plenty of people do really love that.
Yes. Well, whether you take credit for it or not, you're a champion of it, and everything comes from the top down, which, really improves everything. But fun question.
Okay.
First thing that comes to mind, funniest memory at work, funniest moment, what has happened recently?
Funniest moment at work. Well, there are a lot of funny moments that are sort of impromptu. I think you can think about Halloween. And that would certainly, if anybody follows us on social media, they will know what I'm talking about with some of those funny moments. However, there's been some other funny moments. I can think of the time that we had the chicken limo. I don't know if anybody's seen the chicken limo, right? Yes,
I've been in the chicken limo.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, that to me was a pretty funny day because it pulled up in front of the building, and I will have to blame Kate Mays for that. But I think we were celebrating maybe the 20th anniversary of CSI, or I don't even know, but the chicken limo and its extremely loud noise. Exactly, right outside the building, and everybody got up and little did we know that it was there for us, and it took us to have a really good afternoon. But there's been a lot of funny things over the years, but some of them probably aren't appropriate. I'm kidding. No, but that was a pretty funny day because no one expected that. That might be one for the ages for sure.
Well, that's awesome.
Infamously, by the way.
And you kind of teased this, but if you're listening, make sure to follow us on social media because we do share a lot of the background scenes of what goes on here in the company culture, and especially Halloween. Halloween is a big thing. We start planning our outfits.
They're talking about them already. And interestingly, the neighbors, I'm looking across at our bank neighbor across the street that thinks we're absolutely insane because they see us out here running up and down the road on a hot day and doing workouts outside. But they also see the happenings for Halloween. And we always get a lot of calls about what the heck is going on at CSI today.
Gosh.
So
it is
big
so
deal
fun.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's shift.
Okay.
Vision and focus. We've done 3 decades here.
Yeah.
What's going to be the next decade?
I mean this sincerely when I say that we're just getting started. And I think you always have to reset goals and you always have to refine vision. For us, we had a vision of being $1 billion organization. And that is something we're well on the way to accomplish. I would say that, that's a goal of ours for 2027. And I think it's extremely doable based on, the hard work that we're putting in. But the vision for CSI, honestly, is to be a sustaining company, right? I want it to be a company that continues long after I'm gone, right?
Of course.
So we have to set up that foundation now. And I think all of the leaders feel the same way. Our goal is first, we're playing with someone else's money, right? Let's be honest. We're owned by Recruit and they do an incredible job of supporting us. But we're playing with their money. So the goal here is to really build this into something that we're proud of, that they're proud of, but that sustains long after we're gone. But I think as far as, the short term is that $1 billion. The long term is to build a true platform business that has, just really a dominating effect on the healthcare business out there in the US. Yeah. I think right now we're extremely we're well received by clients. We have a very good reputation. I think we can grow upon that. I really do think we can grow upon that. And I expect us to do that.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're anticipating this anytime soon, but what legacy do you want to leave as CEO?
You can't be CEO forever, right?
Right.
And as much as you want the ride to go on and on and on, it certainly doesn't, right? At some point, you do need to leave it for the next person.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, our prior CEO, Rafe Sanson, did a great job here, and he sort of set the table for me, and that's my goal, is to set the table for the next person.
Yeah.
And I think the legacy is to have created, or to have been part of creating, a company that will sustain, like I said a second ago, that people want to be part of, right?
Yeah,
and I think that really is the legacy, right? When we got started here, over the last 5 or 6 years since I've taken over, the goal was really to be an extremely diverse company, and to be a place that whoever you are, you can come in here and excel and succeed. And I think that we're creating that. We're certainly not all the way there yet, but we're on our way to being recognized there.
Absolutely.
I also think the legacy is a big part of that is going to be what we've done in the community. We've established CSI Gives Back. We've established CSI Connect. Those to me are bigger than me, right? They're bigger than CSI. Those are things that we're impacting people's lives. That's what a legacy is to me. It's like, what are you leaving behind? Well, I think we're setting up something that, can endure long after I'm gone.
Right, of course. You absolutely have created that incredible environment. And I can speak for myself, but also just the vibe of everyone coming into work. We truly enjoy every day coming to work. And I think that it's a work hard, play hard environment here.
It is.
And it's a privilege to be a part of something that is continuing to level up. Last question.
Okay.
What message would you like to leave to employees and clients as CSI hits its 30th year?
Oh, wow. That's another good one, Anjelica. You guys have really outdone yourselves on these questions. But no, I think that's a very important question. So, what are we doing this all for, right? And I think the commitment that CSI has is to be better, right? To be better. I think each day, we look at, so where can we improve?
Right.
And I think that our clients need to, and people that work for us out there, that are consultants, things are good now, but they'll be better. Give us some time to continue to get better in the things that we're doing. I would say we are committed to being the best. And you don't become the best overnight. It does take a long time sometimes.
Right.
I look at it and I think, there are things that we do very well. There are areas that we have opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my commitment as CEO, and I would say the rest of our leadership team, is that we will continue to learn and to get better. And add new lines of business. We have clients asking us to do other things, and we're reluctant to commit to something that we're not ready for. I think that we're doing a great job of assembling more thought leaders and more true, not just visionaries, but people that can actually go out and make things happen. I think that is something that I'm excited about over the next 4, 5, 6 years, is those new lines of business that we can roll out. Because you have clients that you've established over all these years, right? We still are working with the same clients, and we do a great job, but we could do a better job. And I think that's what we're committed to.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. Thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations. It's been an honor to talk to you.
Thank you. It's been fun. I've had a great time. Let's do it again.
Yes. I'll try to get you down here.
Okay.
And thank you so much for tuning in to the Not Your Average Co podcast. Be sure to follow us at CSI Companies to keep up with what's next. Bye.
Bye-bye.